Hello, this is Raimund, and I do vocals for TO OBSCURITY.
And I'm Ole, and I'm the guitar player for TO OBSCURITY.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having us. I'm pretty fine today.
Me too. We had a kind of day off yesterday, basically a travel day, but we arrived in Helsinki early and had the chance to go to the sauna and sleep in a proper bed. So we feel pretty relaxed. Well, at least I do.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I had a very good sleep tonight, and I did laundry, which was mandatory. So yeah, it was good.
Okay, so that's why you're smelling relatively nice today, I guess.
Like
relatively nice.
We always smell relatively nice.
Relatively, yeah.
In 2017, and then Helsinki on the same tour. Yeah, I think that was 2017.
Yeah.
We played at Tampere, and then in Helsinki there was Nosturi, which doesn't exist anymore, as far as I know.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And now you're here in this, like, I don't know if you've seen the stage already, but
Yes.
it's a pretty good, big place. Metallica also played here, I
Oh,
believe.
that's
Okay.
that's nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We already realized that this must be the biggest place we ever played as a band so far. So it's very big, I think. It was just fantastic. We played the States the beginning of this year, which means first time in the States and being back on stage again. So that was something, and it really gave us like a kick in the A again, and it felt just great. And then returning to Europe, then playing here again, bigger stages again and stuff, and we felt really like everything's getting back to somewhat normal, whatever normal means. And yeah, and now playing this tour is just it's just fantastic. The whole package, the camaraderie between all the bands, it's and the crews. I don't want to leave out that the crews are fantastic. So yeah, it's just great to play shows at least again, and all the company we had this year tour-wise was just fantastic.
I have to say that it also felt very weird to get back to this touring thing, because in December, so pretty much this time last year, we didn't expect to be able to play shows at all, and then at the end of January, we were sitting at the airport, got our visas 1 week before, and only knew 2 hours, I think, before our flight took off that we are allowed to leave, because we still had to do a COVID test and all. So even when we were already playing, it took a while to realize that we are doing it again, that this is happening. And back then we didn't realize how long the US tour is going to be. So it was 7.5 weeks, which
Wow.
was the longest tour we've ever done. And that after 2 years of no touring. We only did one show during the pandemic. There was a festival in Austria the year before. Oh no, yeah, the year before, yeah. So so that was surreal. And then we did, right after this 7.5 weeks tour, there was 2 weeks of break, and then we did another 2 weeks in Europe. Then there was a longer break, and now this tour again. So it's a pretty busy year for us, actually. And we didn't know that this is going to happen 1 year ago. So that's very special.
I think we played 2 tours prior to these tours that we played this year. It was in 2019 when we used to tour with AMORPHIS and Soilwork and Ginger. And in 2020, we also toured in 2020, right before the whole lockdown situation, with Equilibrium, Lot of the Lost and Oceans. So
that tour ended like 2 or 3 weeks before the first lockdown.
Yeah.
So we were kind of one of the last European bands touring, I think, and one of the first being able to tour again, which was just coincidence, but well. I mean, we have released 2 new songs this year. One per tour, so to speak, which felt right because, as you said, we have toured, or as we just said, we have toured on the previous album already, and it didn't feel right to go just continue touring on that album after such a long time. And we wanted to record a new album already, but then it was really hard to get the studio times booked. Sometimes we weren't allowed to enter Denmark, which is an important part of our production because that's where Jacob Hansen has his studio. So we had to cancel it because of that. Then it was for most of the time while the pandemic was still on, that we had problems to sit together to write. So everything took a bit longer. Then this year, when we wanted to finish everything, we started touring out of a sudden, so that came as a surprise as well. So we're still in the process of writing the album. We have recorded 3 songs, of which 2 are released already, and the rest will be recorded early next year. So we are almost done. I think there's one entire song missing, but everything else is there, just not finished 100%. So yeah, there's gonna be a new album sooner or later.
Yeah, I guess within the year or so, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Because we were forced to change our writing process while we normally sit. Normally it's a mixture. Black Frost was written under a lot of time pressure, so that was basically written together in the rehearsal room. And now it was the complete opposite. Now we were doing everything, well, not everything, but almost everything at home in a studio environment, in a way, like in our home studios, which leaves much more space to try things and to experiment and to rework the like song structures, try different arrangements, which we normally do on the fly while we play, which is still an important part, and which we are still going to do with the other songs that haven't been recorded yet, because we need to try them in a live situation, like not in a concert, but playing them together. So that's still an important part, and there will be things changed then, but we have never had so many almost finished songs before we even did that. So that's a big difference, and that also led to more experiments with the vocals, because we just have more time to do that. I think with Black Frost, most of the vocal lines and everything were written in the studio while we were already recording the instrumentals. Now we have a lot of time for that, and yeah, we're kind of focusing on the vocals, like on the vocal production, which is a big difference to previous writing processes. And yeah, so but it's then on the other hand, it doesn't feel that different. So it's just a slightly different approach, I think. We take more time for everything, and yeah, some things we just wanted to try to do differently, I think. So that's why, even though I think they still sound like us, I agree they also sound a bit different. But that was the idea to do that, or to try that.
And I think Ole also leveled up as a producer, so I think the pre-production is a lot better. So we were able to get a much better like idea of the whole song. Also for me as a vocalist, so I was really able to work on the vocal lines with Ole, and then work on my singing when it comes to my own performance for the vocals. So I think that was also very helpful. That was also kind of new, especially
yeah, we haven't
when it comes
done
to
that
clean
before.
vocals.
It's just
yes, maybe a little more self-confidence when it comes to the clean vocals. I think that's the main thing. Yeah,
and also we are trying to find what's the perfect sound, like the perfect color of the voice. And if that doesn't work with the arrangement, then we change the arrangement. There are some songs that we recorded in 4 different tunings, just to find which one's the best, is the best basis for the sound of the voice that we want to hear in that song, and stuff like that. While before we just wrote it as it was, and then we tried to find a vocal line that works with that tuning, for example, and things like that. So we're just trying to give as much space and room for the vocals so that they can unfold and work as good as possible. So that's the difference, I'd say.
Yeah, it was just great. That's what I can say. Working with him because first and foremost, we know about his legacy, the bands he worked with. That's the main reason why we choose him. And then working with him felt very natural, to be honest. I just warmed up and then sang the lines, and it felt just great. It was he knew exactly what he wanted from me, but I also had a much better idea of what I wanted it to sound like, and the other guys too. And so everything was just it felt, I just want to say cozy. It was just nice, yeah. And
I want to point out that we are still working with Victor, who's also going to play a couple of shows with us, because he's going to replace Volker, our other guitar player, at the end of the tour. And he's still a co-producer of the album. He's not mixing it anymore, but he's recording all the instrumentals, and we've done pre-productions with him as well. So that, which is still a super important process, because he understands our music, and he knows us very well and knows how he can get the best out of us as players, and not singers anymore, because that we recorded with Jacob. So that's a very important step still in the production. But normally we were focusing in the studio on finding the exact, the perfect tone for each riff, for each melody, and that took a lot of time, and is sometimes a bit nerve-wracking. It takes so long, and sometimes you can't judge anymore, and then you don't know if it's right or wrong, or this was better or that was better. We just didn't have to focus on that anymore. We just played everything with we still did it to have a sketch in a way for Jacob so he knows what our intention was, but we're not that. We don't go into detail that much anymore. So the whole process is just easier and more fun. And then everything sounded already great. And then we went to the studio, did the reamping stuff and everything, and it took maybe 20 minutes, and we knew, okay, we're fine. He's gonna find the right sound for us, and it was really, really great. And he did things that we haven't tried before, with it's a bit with different combinations of different amps for only one rhythm section and stuff like that, which we haven't done before, which I want to do live now as well, because it sounds so fantastic. So and I think the most important thing for me was that right from the beginning I knew he understands how we have to sound. We didn't really, we tried to tell him in the beginning, but then we realized it's just not even necessary. He just knew it. And I think that was also one of the fastest mixing processes. We got the first version, that's almost perfect. This was supposed to be a little different, and then he said, okay, I understand. And then the second or third version was the final version, and I was super quick. So which proves that he kind of knew how we wanted it to sound like. So
absolutely. On the one hand, these are two different worlds, so to speak, but on the other hand, we want to really recreate the vibe of the song live, and because we like what we present via the studio version of the song, and we really want to present that live too. So we try to be as close as possible to the studio version on the one hand, but on the other hand, there is still this live factor.
We're not trying to sound like on the album, because that's impossible anyway, and I think it's also nice that it's different. So otherwise, why would you go to a concert if it's just like listening to a CD or to Spotify or whatever? But I like if I hear something on the recording which sounds really good, then I want to try to bring that to the stage. It will not sound exactly like that, but this is just like a technicality where maybe if this doesn't make such a big difference on the recording, maybe it also works live. So that's why I want to try it. I don't want to try to sound exactly like on the recording. I just want the same effect live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
fun.
Yeah, fun. Yeah, pure fun.
Yeah,
because it's cool to have something fresh to present to the audience. And when we did Liquid Morning for the first time in the States, that was already something special. And I think Clouded Frame, sorry for the mess in my head. Clouded Frame goes even more further when it comes to the differentiation to the stuff prior to that, and it feels great. There are some moments in that song that I really look forward to, even before actually reaching that very song on the set.
And they work really well, I have the feeling. And also it helped for this tour because we have a very short set, and these two songs are probably the two shortest that we have. So it really helped to put a proper set together, because normally we have a big problem to have a set list, like a proper, like a dynamic set list for such a short time. That's really hard to put together with only 6 to 10 minutes songs. So now we have these songs that we can put in between.
Yeah, normally it's like, oh, we have half an hour. Which two songs are we about to play?
Yeah. When we released them, the feedback was really, really good. I'd say the best that we ever got for any release that we did before. And live, it's hard to tell. I think the reactions are good. It feels good. But I haven't really talked to anyone about that. So
yeah, sometimes when we start these songs, I can see in the audience if someone heard it beforehand, and so that feels good. If there is like an expectation to hear these songs live, that feels good. But I think that's basically it. But I also do the merch on this tour most of the time myself, and everything I heard was very positive. So I think it's well received. I think it was a fully packed year for us as a band. I think we never played so many shows. I think we also said that before. It was, I don't know.
It was short. It felt very short.
Yeah.
And I'm personally kind of happy that it's over, and I hope the next year is going to be a little better for, not for us, but all the bands and this scene, because with everyone going out at the same time, incredibly increased costs everywhere. I mean, that's the biggest bummer on this tour. Everything works really well, but I mean, buses were always expensive. Now it's just ridiculous, and that's, well, I hope that's going to change at some point, because it's not making it easier. Even though we still do it, so and we will continue doing it, but I hope that's going to change sooner. So that was there was a lot of positive things this year, but not everything was great, I think. So that's why I hope we can continue, move on, and it's going to be better from here on out. So the record will be the main focus, but I hope we're going to play a couple of more shows. There might be a tour again, maybe even 2, but that's not set in stone yet, so we'll see about that. Nothing concrete.
Yeah, thanks to all our Finnish fans for all this support throughout the years, and we hope to catch as much as possible of you during the show tonight. So and thank you so much for having us.
No worries.
Thank you very much.